I am in Tokyo. I'm so excited to do a video in this series on location. I have been in Japan for about a month and Tokyo for a week, so I have been doing some people watching. I've been hitting the streets to see what there is to see. I bought some magazines as usual, some Japanese fashion magazines. I went through those as well, and I'm ready to tell you what people are wearing in Tokyo this summer. If you're new here, I'm going to be specifically talking about city boy style and not as much about alternative styles, which you do see and are very present in Tokyo. It's just not my area of expertise or interest. City boy is a term coined by the Japanese fashion magazine Popeye. It's been around since the 70s. It's sort of a lifestyle magazine, but they focus a lot on fashion. The city boy style encompasses a lot of different things. There's elements of workwear, military surplus, American and British traditional or preppy styles, and also outdoorsy sort of gorpcore pieces. All that is mixed in and filtered through a very Japanese style and sensibility, so you have minimalist aspects and specific shapes or silhouettes that you generally don't see as much in the West. But it's also at this point an international style. It's a product of globalization and cross-cultural sharing. Today I want to start off with a little bit of a level set because usually I talk about things that are hot, things that are trendy, things that early adopters are wearing or magazines are focusing on. That's not necessarily what you're going to see day to day if you're actually walking around Tokyo, right? In the same way that when you see those videos, that's like what people are wearing in London, what people are wearing in New York City or Tokyo, they're highlighting very specific, very fashionable people. I did want to quickly talk about what I would say the normal fashionable people are wearing, people who obviously take an interest and like to dress themselves well, but they're not the most expressive or the most unique. I find it really interesting to see what those people are wearing as well. So looking past a lot of the salarymen you see, looking past, people just wearing jeans and t-shirts, I would say that some of the very basic popular items that you see over and over again are striped shirts. Japanese love a striped shirt, a little French kind of mariner shirt. You also see a lot of people wearing khakis or chinos. I actually looked up the difference recently. Khakis, I believe, are less formal. They have like a seam down the side and chinos don't. It's something in that world, but you know the color I'm referring to generally. I haven't checked to see if people are wearing specifically khakis or chinos, but definitely that sort of tan colored trouser. In terms of footwear, I don't know if it's the most popular sneaker in Tokyo, but they wear it more in this city than any other major city I've ever been to. I feel like every fourth person who's wearing sneakers is wearing New Balances, and you just don't see that anywhere else. And I feel like it's been like that for years and years and years. They're an extremely popular shoe here. I do also want to talk a little bit about what women generally wear here as well, because even though I don't personally vibe with it, it is very specific. Long skirts, long dresses, like things to the mid-calf or even lower. We were walking past an office building the other day and there were so many young women in short skirts, and I think there was some sort of a J-pop audition or something. I had never seen so many women in Japan in short skirts. However, it is actually considered more appropriate to show leg in a short skirt than it is to show any sort of upper body skin, so you don't see a lot of cleavage, you don't see a lot of women or men for that matter wearing tank tops. If they are, a lot of times they're wearing like a cardigan or a button down over it or even something sheer over it. The top half of the body is generally pretty covered up here. Partially that is for modesty, like I mentioned, and partially that is for sun coverage. As you guys know, East Asians, they're very concerned with remaining pale, and also, it's sun damage is bad for your skin and it ages you and all these things, and there's a long history of classism like there is in pretty much any country. They're very focused on avoiding the sun. So that's why you see a lot of long sleeves, you see a lot of hats, so many hats. A lot of women wear baseball caps, a lot of men wear bucket hats. Women also wear like sun hats or all sorts of, ways to get your face out of the sun. And of course, umbrellas. It's true. A lot of women carry sun umbrellas here. For shorts, you do see people wear shorts. In some ways, I feel like you see more shorts than you do tank tops, but it's not super, super common in the way that it is, at least in the US. In the US, people start wearing shorts once it's 55 degrees outside. Not quite the case here in Japan. So that's what I see a lot in the general populace. I want to talk about the people that I would say are like a step up, the people that you see and you think, oh, now that person is like working in fashion, or they're a hairdresser. There are a lot of hairdressers here, and all the hairdressers are very cool. Hairdressers in the US are cool too, but it does feel like a little bit more of a cultural force here to be a cool hairdresser. And the things I see a lot in that sort of like upper tier of fashionable people. For men specifically, I feel like there are two main types of guys, especially in men who are a little bit older, in their 30s, 40s, 50s. You see a guy who is wearing an all black outfit. It has a kind of cool, wider shape. The pants are generally wide but tapered at the bottom. All black, cool glasses, sometimes really thick black rims, nice haircut, nice shoes. That's the outfit. No layers even, very much nothing. It hits every time. You see it fairly often in that like stylish set, but it's not like every person in Tokyo is wearing that by any means. I would say that I see it like 3 or 4 times a day total. The other type of guy I would say that I find very fashionable is the Japanese denim, probably like a short sleeve button down shirt with maybe a t-shirt layered under it, and he's usually got like a cool tote. I saw one guy who had just like a Patagonia tote. I bet it was just nylon or something, and I don't know, the way he had styled his outfit together looked great. I have to say their glasses game here is, I think, almost like the number one thing that elevates their style is wearing a cool, funky pair of glasses. And a lot of times they are that like thick black rim I was talking about, which I'm definitely feeling influenced, or they're very cute sort of like thin round glasses in a black wire frame or a tortoiseshell or a silver, like kind of like I have, but maybe even smaller sometimes. Anyway, I really want to pick up a pair of glasses here. Now I want to get a little bit more into what's trendy this season, starting off with shoes. I did mention sneakers. I want to talk about sandals. I do think for a town that's not like a beach town, it's a major metropolitan city, the toes are out in Tokyo. So many people wear flip-flops, sandals. It seems like a total, cultural non-issue to have your feet out. Obviously, there's a cultural background that lends itself to that. The specific type of sandals I'm seeing are these sort of sporty thongs. Like, they're not flip-flops. They go in between the toes, but then the line goes like all the way to your ankle where there's like an ankle strap. I'll show you a bunch of different examples here. I was at Pilgrim Surf and Supply, which I think is a New York brand, but they have a nice store here in the Shibuya area. I was in there. They have these Luna sandals. And then it's like one of those things, you start noticing it everywhere once you're sort of tuned into it. We went to Nepenthes. I've never had to say that out loud. We went to Nepenthes, and they had this pair of sandals that I think it's like a new brand. I don't speak Japanese. I barely speak Japanese, is what I would say. I can order at a restaurant and sort of get through the convenience store. But that's about it. I was with a friend who does speak Japanese, and she was talking to the guy for me, and she seemed to think that it was somehow related to sweet Coke. But I looked up the website, and it doesn't say anything about sweet Coke. So anyway, I'm not totally sure. I'm just going to call them the blah sandals, since that's what the URL says. So the blah sandals, also definitely in that style. I saw Nanamika and Sweet Coke do have a style coming out, the exclusive Cat 2, which is again in that similar sort of, I'm going to call it like a elevated sporty flip-flop. My friend was also saying, my friend who lives here who speaks Japanese, was saying she's gotten really into trail running, and trail runners also wear sandals that are in this style. Seems dangerous, but apparently that's what they're doing. And yeah, I'm just finding them over and over again in the magazines and the stores. These are from Bedrock. The other thing I wanted to talk about in terms of these sort of like sporty style are the Teva Women's Voya Infinity sandal, which I believe got popular because the Olsen twins wear them. But it's that same kind of minimalistic, kind of sporty. I am a little suspicious. Well, sandals in general, I always feel like they look comfortable and then they're not as comfortable as they look. But these particularly, I don't know, I find that it's hard to wear something between the toes for a really long time. It can get uncomfortable, but if anyone has worn a style like this and would let us know if they like it or not, if they wear it for long hours or not, I would love to hear from you. The other thing, which is a little bit more of a classic, this is a less hot item, but just pretty much any Birkenstock style sandal. The clogs, I see those everywhere. I found this brand, Genuines. They have their own sort of Birkenstock sandals, but I did really like this company from what I saw. In terms of sneakers, this is something that I've been seeing again a lot online, not so much in person. I actually even haven't seen these so much in stores in person or on people's feet, but I'm seeing it so much online, is these really flat, low profile designer sneakers. So, first there was the Samba. Very, very popular. I feel like that helped us all get into this sort of slim shoe profile. Then I feel like there were the Dries Van Noten sneakers. I think they're just called suede sneakers. I think they're beautiful. I love them. I'm just not going to drop however much it is, $500 on a pair of sneakers. The other two sort of runner-ups I've seen are the Maison Margiela Sprinters. I've been seeing a lot of those online, and then the Prada Collapse sneakers. So it feels like these three sneakers are sort of vying for people's high-end attention. If people are interested in buying high-end sneakers, I'm seeing a lot of those circulate online. Again, not so much in person. A lot of times I'm having this issue because, again, I'm in Japan, so every time I Google something, it sends me to the Japanese version of the website, and, first of all, I don't read Japanese. Second of all, I'm trying to figure out, does this actually ship to the US? And so I'm sorry if throughout any of this video, I'm giving you all these suggestions for things that are not available in your country. I also know that not everyone who watches this channel is from the US. So I apologize if there's anything that's unavailable. The shoes that I have been seeing in person in Japan in terms of sneaker stores, a lot of sneaker stores, I have been seeing Patrick sneakers, which I had never heard of, but they sell them a lot of different places here, even I think some at ABC Mart. I also have been running into Flower Mountain sneakers, which I believe they sell internationally. They're a little bit more expensive, but I think the designs are super cool. So you see a lot of Flower Mountain, you see Patrick sneakers here. Oh, Spingle. If you're into a weirder sort of European dad shoe, Spingle could be for you. And then I've been weirdly a little interested in canvas sneakers. I don't know if it's something in the water. Are canvas sneakers going to come back? I saw a couple guys outside wearing Vans. I mean, I feel like if you're a Vans guy, you're never going to give up your Vans. You're always wearing Vans. I don't know if that's anything more than just those people's personal style to be wearing Vans, but there does feel like there's a little bit something in the water towards canvas sneakers coming back. So I've been looking at those styles, and one specific brand is Shoes Like Pottery. So I went and checked out those in person yesterday, and they were beautiful, but I didn't quite spring for a pair. They're usually, pretty narrow, and I have wide feet. Okay, so that is shoes. Next up we have bags. I've mentioned this before. I've been making a lot of content about bags, so I don't want to go so hard into bags again. In person, a lot of totes. I made a whole video about bags, the purses men should wear, talked about totes for men. You see these men wearing totes out here. They are wearing those totes. I mentioned the Patagonia tote, which you can buy. There's obviously a lot of also classic canvas totes, LL Bean tote and boat, and every canvas tote you can imagine, obviously. The type of bag that I've been seeing a lot in stores as well as in magazines is small nylon or ripstop bags. Actually, even yesterday, again, when we were at Pilgrim Surf and Supply, my friend was talking to me about the sacoche movement, which I've mentioned a couple videos back, that in Japan, a lot of men wear these small sort of nylon crossbody bags, which the style is called sacoche, and it's just not necessarily as popular in other big cities, but it is very popular here. The brands that I've learned about recently are Cobmaster bags. I've been seeing a bunch of those, again, in person and in some magazines. AS2OV, I'll add links below, so don't worry too much about this. I saw a lot of those bags. They were very beautiful, looked well made, carried a good amount. I also have seen a lot of Marmot, which Marmot is an American company. Sometimes this really frustrates me. Sometimes I'll look up an American company that carries cool stuff in Japan, and then I realize they don't sell those products to the US. I don't know, they don't think it's worth it. They don't think that they have an audience for that kind of stuff in the US. A lot of times these companies make way cooler products for Japan than they do for the US, where they're ostensibly from. Oh, Topology. I've spoken about Topology before. We went into a brick and mortar in Kobe, and my partner got a new strap for his camera, which he's been wearing very consistently and really likes. And yeah, I just think Topology does a great job. And I do see, they have those little scrunchy straps. You can sort of make your own bag at Topology, so you can choose the strap and the pouch separately. But I do see a lot of those little scrunchy straps around that style necessarily. I don't know if all those bags are from Topology exactly. Oh, right, we were talking about totes. Besides the LL Bean classic boat and tote and the Patagonia, the other brand I've really been liking, it's not necessarily a brand, I guess it's more like well, they call it an online market. It's Puebco, and they have so many styles that I like. Every time I look at their website, I'm like, wow, I like so much of this stuff. And a lot of it is made out of recycled materials, which great for the environment, yada, yada, yada. They have this college tote bag. If you want to throw in a little prep into your life, they have a vintage parachute light two-way bag. I've been really into olive bags recently. And then even some more fun stuff. This striped rug bag. I don't know. Everything they make I think is super cute and usable and great prices. Great prices. Very affordable. So classically, like I said, a lot of cool guys you see either just wearing like a big funky t-shirt or a button down. I'm seeing so many short sleeve camp collar shirts. Camp collar, obviously, it's one of those summer classics. Doesn't really go away, and it's been popular for many years now, but I am seeing a lot of them on the streets here. It's also one of those things that, like, if you have a menswear store that you like, they probably have camp collar. I don't feel like I necessarily need to suggest specific brands for you guys. But if you need some, I know that a lot of people like Portuguese flannel. I also wanted to shout out my guys over at 316. They have some beautiful camp collar shirts, specifically a long sleeve one, which I feel like you don't see a lot of long sleeve camp collars. So that could be, set yourself apart a little bit. And then in my men's fudge edition here, I found this place, Wax London, which has a little bit more of like funky, cute styles if you like something that has big prints on it, but they also have classics, with things that are a little bit more subtle. Otherwise, for summer shirts, I actually want to shout out someone in my Discord, Annie Sapling, who got this seersucker that I really, really like. Seersucker, seersucker is tough because I think it has such a specific connotation of like barbershop quartet with that really bright blue look, and it's, I don't know, it can feel a little corny, I think. And then he shows up and he's like, oh, look at my new olive plaid seersucker. And I was like, oh, seersucker in a different color, I love. And it's such a classic summer cloth. So I wanted to shout out Free Note Cloth for making a cool seersucker shirt. Good for them. And also, obviously, my guy in the Discord for putting me on. Finally, in terms of classic summer fabrics, we have madras shirts. Of course, comes back every summer, usually as a long sleeve or short sleeve. One thing that I've seen that I really like, and I particularly, I like the patchwork look, and I feel like this bag that Drake's put out is super cute. And I like, again, the idea of taking this like really classic summer fabric and reinventing it a little bit. So the seersucker in a slightly different color, the madras fabric in a bag instead of a shirt. I did look around to see if I could just like find any other madras style bags and on eBay, and nothing was really working for me as much as that bag did, unfortunately. But I believe in everyone. If you don't want to buy things firsthand, please don't, because buying stuff firsthand is expensive. Always check your secondhand market first. And then, of course, if you want a patchwork madras short sleeve, I just have J-Press open here. They had this specific one, which is like a little bit more of a dull or darker color, which I thought was interesting. It looks a little less like in-your-face preppy, if people are concerned about that. So I'll leave that link down below. So for pants, I am seeing jeans. I'm not seeing like a whole lot of, classic Japanese denim. Japanese denim is expensive. I do see men wearing what looks like really nice Japanese denim, but you don't see it overwhelmingly everywhere, I would say. And jeans are hot for the summer, though in general, Tokyo, people do not look like they're dressing for the hot weather, especially now. I mean, now it's not too hot yet, and it's also the rainy season, so keep that in mind. In fact, like June and July, people are dressing for hot weather, but people are also dressing for the rain, maybe first and foremost. Anyway, so, summer here, it's not always the coolest looking clothing that people are wearing. Cooling in terms of temperature, you get it. The other pants, obviously, that are going to work a little bit more for the weather. For me personally, I've been wearing linen, not only linen pants, but specifically linen pants that I've been finding as military surplus. So it's not just like flowy, sort of unstructured linen pants, linen pants with a little bit of attitude, which I like. Otherwise, of course, military fatigues. Have I actually seen someone wear military fatigues? Yes, definitely. I think I even saw a woman wear them the other day. So military fatigues, military pants, definitely out and about here in Tokyo. And then, the chinos / khakis. I looked through my older episode where I asked people to sort of write in about their favorite pairs, and the things that people shouted out were the Uniqlo U wide leg chino, the J. Crew giant fit chinos, Gurkha chinos from Black Sign. I really do want a pair of Gurkhas. I've been looking for one in the stores here, but they're harder to find than I thought. J. Crew classic chinos and the Buzzricks in 1942 were some of the most popular khakis / chinos to get. And then, what was I talking about? Shorts in Japan. Do they wear them? Yeah, I've seen like a couple people wear shorts. It's not like it's the most taboo thing in the world. In terms of what I've seen in magazines about where to get shorts, Gramichi is very popular. They have a wide range of sort of casual, sporty styles. You also have Studio Nicholson, which has stuff that's a little bit more oversized, a little bit longer, and I would say more professional or fancier fabrics, more formal fabrics. I also wanted to shout out Graph Paper. They have a couple of shorts. If you don't know Graph Paper, I don't know how new the brand is, but it's picking up a lot of steam, a lot of popularity. There's one guy, one of my mutuals on Instagram, I'm forgetting his username, but I'll put it up here somewhere, who is the biggest Graph Paper stan, and he's always talking about Graph Paper and how everyone should be into Graph Paper. I did visit their store in Kyoto, and I've seen just a couple of their clothing carried by other select shops around Tokyo. This stuff is great looking. It's beautiful in person. It is, like, I think a little bit cooler than I am. Like, I don't think I'm gonna buy anything from Graph Paper because I personally don't think I'm like cool enough to wear it. Like, I don't think I could carry it off. I think I'll feel a little bit too much like a poser. I don't think, obviously that's true for everyone. Very cool brand, but I don't know if I'm gonna spring for anything from there. The last thing, I had sort of like a grab bag at the end here of just brands that I've been seeing in a lot of stores. And I just wanted to sort of tell you about them in general because, again, it just gives you some more insight into what the shopping is like and what's popular here. The first one would have to be Montbell. I did see Montbell mentioned in a magazine a couple of months back, and I didn't think that much about it. Montbell is the outdoor store in Japan, as far as I can tell. Like, you see Montbell everywhere. There's so many brick and mortars. If you're shopping secondhand, you see a lot of Montbell secondhand. And it seems it's like more popular than Patagonia, more popular than North Face. Montbell for the Japanese, they're like this. So if for whatever reason you just want to sort of like buy your outdoorsy clothing where the Japanese do, that's what I would suggest. The other things are, for socks, because I've been personally looking for some socks. I didn't bring enough, and some of them have holes, and my partner's going through the same issue. We just need more socks than we brought. The socks I've been seeing are Nishiguchi Kutsushita, which I have actually talked to that brand before just on IG, but they are carried in a lot of different stores in Japan, and they're very, very cute, and I've enjoyed the pairs that I have already. Finally, I have talked a little bit about this on Instagram, my short form content, but there is a lot of military clothing here. There's a lot of American vintage. There's a lot of interest in American military surplus. You can find a lot of it. A couple of stores that you can buy that style from as reproductions, not as actual surplus, would be Orslo. Orslo, super popular. A lot of people love their pants. I saw a couple of their pants in person, which was great to see. And then the other one is Nigel Caborn, which is not a Japanese brand. Orslo is a Japanese brand. Nigel Caborn, I believe, is a British brand. But I've been seeing them a lot in brick and mortar stores, and we walked into a specific Nigel Caborn store. I've also seen that they do collabs with different Japanese brands, so I think they have a very strong Japanese audience and know that. I really like their stuff, actually, from what I've seen. They have this baseball shirt that my husband really wants to get. Sorry, I just got married, so I'm still getting used to saying husband. My husband wants to get a baseball t-shirt from them, And otherwise, yeah, I think they make nice stuff. And I kind of think if I do want something from them, I could probably find it secondhand here because, again, so many people do seem to buy their stuff. And, it's a little bit of a pricier brand. But it also sort of hits like every single thing that I think a lot of Japanese people are interested in, which is that sort of UK vibe, prestige from a brand, military clothing, workwear styles, sort of American vintagey styles, like of course like a baseball shirt. And yeah, I think you can find their stuff if you're interested in Nigel Caborn secondhand. There's stuff on eBay, and if you want it, you can get it that way as well. So that is what I have for you today. Let me know if you have any suggestions for stuff I should do in Tokyo. I have a really long list. One of my main activities is that I have a really long list of stores I want to check out, like over 200 stores across Japan, technically, not just in Tokyo. And I'm trying to check out every single one of them and write notes and take the ones off my list that I don't think are interesting. Essentially, I want to put together a really strong and cohesive Google Maps list of good stores in Tokyo and in Japan as well. I am providing that for my Patreon subscribers, so any current Patreon subscribers have access to it as I update it, but if you want to become a Patreon subscriber, then you can get access to it as well. If you're coming to Japan, I think it could be really useful. I'm having like really actually strong and specific feelings about the stores I'm going into very often. Sometimes I walk into a store, I walk around for 2 minutes, walk back out, and I'm like, absolutely not. It's just like not that interesting. The selection isn't that good. It's very expensive. Most of the shopping here is very expensive. So I'm really trying to focus on finding things that are either like such amazing selections for potentially reasonable prices or stuff that's like really, hidden, because I was walking around this kind of fancy neighborhood and went into this junk shop. It was just like this woman ran it. She made me pay in cash. And it was like one of those tiny little stores. And I found designer, like I found a Yoji shirt for like $50. There was some pleats please for like, I want to say $70 or maybe $80, like really good prices. And then I went to a book off Super Bazaar and you have pleats please for like 60,000, 70,000 yen. The prices have just been all over the place. So I'm really, really focusing on trying to find places that have reasonable prices, because you shouldn't come all the way to Japan and pay expensive prices that you would anywhere else. So if you're interested in that, you can join on my Patreon. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.